What's going on, guys? Welcome to Only Football. I'm Kyle, and that's still Rick.
What's up? Welcome to the studio.
Yep, this is our first time in the brand new studio. We hope you guys like it. We set up the Christmas tree. Maybe a little early for some people's liking, but we don't care. Rick's already wearing a Christmas sweater.
Goddamn right.
And I'm going to be doing a shot to a brand new studio and hopefully a bunch new followers to come. Yep, this is our first time in the brand new...
All right, Kyle. What are we talking first, baby boy?
All right, so we're going to go through the games. We're going to start with what we learned about the Thursday night win over the Texans. I thought that this game was a lot closer than most people expected it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'll hand it off to you. Tell me what you think, and I'll tell you what I saw from the game.
Okay, so first things first. The Eagles undefeated. 8-0, right, at this point, right? Because they did have a bye week.
Yep.
Dude, the Eagles are so good, man. But the thing with the Eagles is, like, they remain undefeated, but Houston actually kept it close for most of the game. I think they were tied at halftime, if I'm not mistaken. But the Texans were close, man. Like,
yeah.
they were actually, like, keeping it really, really close, at least in my eyes.
Yeah.
But
no, they did.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the Eagles won because Jalen Hurts is a fucking monster, and the Eagles in general are just a much better team.
Yeah, the Eagles, they seem like a very complete team,
Mm-hmm.
and they also can beat you in different ways. So I'm going to talk about Dallas Goedert a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
for a while, I mean, especially since Rob Gronkowski retired, it's been Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, George Kittle, and then everybody else. But you could make a case that Dallas, their tight end,
Yeah.
he could jump into that spot. So just on Thursday, he had 8 catches, 100 yards, and 1 touchdown. And that wasn't even his best statistical game in the NFL. That was not his best
Oh,
performance.
my God.
So,
I was going to take my glasses off. I'm sorry. I taped my eye for you guys, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck it.
yeah,
Fuck it.
This is the unfiltered
Unfiltered,
version right
only
here.
football.
But yeah, you got to look at these numbers and see, okay, that's not even his best. But that's not even why I say that. I say that because it was a quiet night for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the running game in the screen game with Dallas Goedert that actually gave the Eagles a way to win. And that is really important. If you become reliant on, like, hey, we're going to win by throwing the ball to Devontae Adams, if he has an off game, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So the Eagles, what's impressive is that when they don't rely on Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, they win in the running game and throwing screens to their tight end.
It's not even fair.
Yeah.
It's, like, not even fucking fair, dude. Like, to go up against this Eagles team with Jalen Hurts performing at what he's performing at, and again, like you said, when A.J. Brown is, because I think the week 8 was when he had, like, 3 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah.
Or I forget which game it was. But
It was,
like,
just like last week, I think.
Okay, so it was just last week. Like, even if you don't have A.J. Brown catching all those touchdowns, you got Goddard, like you're talking about. You still have Miles Sanders throwing the ball.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts is still there. Like, this team is just so damn good. And that's why they're undefeated.
Yep. And you could make a case before Sunday that the Bills were a lot better than every other team in the NFL. But they just took an L, so we'll get to that game. But I think right now, this Eagles team, you have to say that they're the best team in the NFL just because they haven't lost. And I think there was major holes on the others, and we're not doing top 5 right now, but
Yeah.
you can see issues in other teams. You really can't find a weakness with this Eagles team, and I think
It's very difficult to, yeah.
yeah. And then some other things. Dameon Pierce is making a case for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
How many yards did he have here? I forgot how many yards he had, but it was insane. He had 139 rushing yards.
Oh, my God.
So, I mean, he has been just amazing for a team that has nothing going on outside of Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
They haven't been able to...
The only thing.
Yep, and then they also had Breece Hall out for the season. So this team has relied heavily on Dameon And if you think about where he was drafted, the 4th round pick, 107, that's a good 4th round pick.
Oh, yeah.
To get somebody that late. So, I mean, I think if you're Houston, there are some things to be happy about. I thought that they played extremely tough. I think it went into halftime. I think it was 14-14. And, Texans gave them their best shot. But at the end of the day, the Eagles were just a better team. But Dameon Pierce is looking like he could be their guy for a long time. Because the way he's running right now as a rookie, he's only going to get better. But I thought this was funny. Guess when he was born? He was born in 2000.
Oh my God!
How old does that make you feel?
Just make me feel older. Why don't you, dude?
I know.
So, I know people personally who were born in 2000 or 2001, and I'm just like, just kill me right now. Like, this isn't even fun anymore for me.
Born February 19th, 2000. I saw 2000. I was like, wait, born? Yeah, he's only 22 years old, so he can barely go to the bar. He's just he's fresh 22 years old. So
I love it.
That's pretty much what I had from that game. Texans obviously are going to kind of go into a rebuild. It'll be interesting to see how high that pick is. And usually when you have a really high pick like that, that's when you truly find out how committed a team is to Davis Mills. It's easy to say you're committed to Davis Mills when there was a bad quarterback draft and you were drafting, and there was another position you could get of need. But with all the quarterback coming out this year, it's a really favorable quarterback class. It'll be interesting to see, once they have that pick in their hand, how committed they are to Davis Mills.
And he's not doing terribly. I think he had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. This is what you want from a guy that is trying to either prove that he's going to be your quarterback, because he's slinging it, man. Like, these are the mistakes you want to make now to learn from in the future for when you have the pieces around him, for him to be like, okay, now I can throw it over here. This is kind of like me with Justin Fields and how he's progressed over the year. Those first 3 games, I'm like, dude, let Justin throw it. Let Justin be the guy, right? Like, let Davis Mills do it. And that's what Houston's getting. Not only do they have Dameon Pierce, which a 4th-round running back, right? This is all the more reason not to pay running backs. And it sucks to say it because I'm like, pay the players, but it's facts,
true.
Right?
It's true.
But you got these 2 guys, young guys, on your team, on a Houston Texans team that really has nothing going for them this year. Fuck it. Throw it out. See what sticks, right?
Yeah. No, totally agree with that. And we'll talk more about I got something to say about Justin Fields once we get to the game.
Yep.
But... yeah, that's that game. So that brings us to our next game. The Chargers at Atlanta. And I know that we had a different pick here, and you ended up winning.
I took the Falcons.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I think we both took the Falcons. We both lost this one.
Oh, I picked the Chargers.
Okay, so
I had it backwards.
Okay, so
I knew there was a disagreement. I forgot.
Yeah, this is why I type shit down. We
also have it recorded. Like, we could never bullshit to each other. We could never be like...
That's so true.
You could never lie about a pick. We just go back and look at it.
It's like, dude, you had this. Maybe, probably.
You're like playing the audio. Next. You're like, who's this guy talking? Is that you?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I didn't say the Steelers are going to win the North.
I literally never said that.
So I picked the Chargers because I thought they had a lot of talent. Obviously, the Chargers have been underperforming, but now they're 5-3 in the playoff picture. And it's crazy how they just, a couple games ago, they were kind of trash, right? They got blown out by the Jaguars. There was rumors who their next head coach was going to be, and now they're 5-3 in the playoff picture. That's not a bad spot to be sitting. You're 1 game out from first place. Obviously, the Raiders are slowly becoming a non-factor. The Broncos, with the win over Jacksonville, keeps themselves in the mix.
Yep.
The AFC West is still up to grabs with the Broncos having to play the Chiefs twice and the Chargers playing the Chiefs 1 more game. But I thought that this was a really important game because you had a Falcons team that was, I think, overperforming the expectations of the season.
Clearly, very clearly.
Yeah, probably the best 4-5 team there is. They're feisty. They're going to put up points. They found unique ways to run the ball, and they had a really important win kind of over the 49ers, where after that game you're like, well, the Falcons are for real. So I could see why you took them, but I just thought the Chargers were trending in a way where they were going to kind of start separating from
Yeah.
the teams that are like upsetting you, they're gonna start winning the games they're supposed to win. And honestly, this game wasn't really that. This game was a very close game. The final score 20-17. So it's not like the Chargers had some kind of statement win against them. It was a very close game, and let's see, the Chargers were actually trailing in the fourth quarter. So, yeah.
That's kind of what I was gonna say too. Like, this one was a toss-up just because, I mean, yes, you can look at the Chargers and be like, yep, they're trending upwards, right? Like, that's perfectly fine, especially in a really tough AFC West where they're second, in that division.
Yeah.
But the fact that the Falcons only lost by a field goal tells you a lot about this Falcons team. Have they exceeded any expectations with Mariota, Cordero Patterson, which, Cordero Patterson's a beast?
Yeah, he is.
Yes, they have. They absolutely have. But the way they've beaten a lot of these teams too is also kind of like, okay, they could actually do something, right?
Yeah.
So when the Chargers were visiting in Atlanta, this is one of those games where I was like, the Chargers, I think, are going to Charger. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to fuck it up somehow. So that's kind of why I took the Falcons. And oh my God, Cordero Patterson! Did you see the touchdown?
I did not.
Dude, he took the handoff, I believe. Immediately, like, he took one step forward. There was a defender in his face, clocked his ass. And I mean,
just
like,
trucked him?
Oh, trucked him. And got into the end zone. So that's how he got his touchdown. And
Did you see Leonard Fournette's truck against Jalen Ramsey?
no, I didn't,
Oh,
but
that
I
was a
love
good
it.
one, too, because they were teammates in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
And he got him good. I mean, it was one of those
Did he?
where it's like, you couldn't even talk shit if you're Jalen Ramsey. Because it was like he trucked him, but then he went down like immediately after.
Yeah.
But it was like you couldn't even be like, oh, I got you down.
Oh
Because
my
sometimes
God.
when the truck's so nasty, but the defender ends up going down
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
And then it's like they
It's
start
just
talking
great.
shit, and you're like, dude, you got pancaked. Like, it
Dude,
was so...
I love seeing Jalen Ramsey get fucked up.
Me too.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just his attitude.
It's
or
his
like,
attitude.
It is, right?
Yeah,
Like, just
because it's like he always has it coming.
he does.
You're
Does.
like, oh, he had it coming.
And he has it coming this year with the Rams being as bad as they are. But we'll get into that in a little
Yeah.
bit. And that's kind of, I mean, yeah, the Falcons, they were at home. They lost by 3. I don't think it's a loss that everyone should look at and be like, see, the Falcons are wrong. Yeah, they're not, who we thought they were or whatever.
This is just who they are.
It's
right?
just-
They're gonna
yeah.
play everybody close.
Yeah, and this is
gonna
like the Falcons this year are the Lions of last year. They might have a few more wins, but they're going to be a tough out. And the Lions this year have been a tough out, but the Falcons are just a little bit more talented, I think, on the offense at least. But let's not forget about their defense.
Yeah.
Their defense is actually pretty damn good. Again, feisty team, going to be a tough out. And in the NFC South, they can still kind of come up. You know? So
They only gave up 245 yards passing to Justin Herbert, a guy that's averaging over 300 yards usually per game, which is like statistically it's like the highest of all time.
Yeah.
But really, when you look at this Falcons team, they continue to impress you with their ability to run the ball, 201 yards on the ground, and their average yard per play higher than the Chargers, 5.3. So they're just running
Really?
it. You know
Jesus.
it, I know it, they can't stop it. But look at this, passing yards, only 114. Only 114 passing yards,
Yeah.
that's just not going to get it done.
no.
So they're going to win some games, but eventually that passing game being their Achilles heel is going to
Yeah.
catch up to them a couple times.
Yeah, and that's, is what it is with the Falcons. But the Chargers get a dub, again, second in the West. And they're going to try to, have a stranglehold on that. But
Yeah.
let's get into our next game.
Your game of the week, probably.
No, it wasn't this
It
one. It
wasn't.
wasn't this one. Dolphins at Bears. Okay, I'll start it off real quick. Bears. Justin Fields broke the regular season QB rushing record of 178 yards. He had a rushing touchdown for 61 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Justin Fields is quickly becoming one of the most dynamic rushing mobile
Yeah.
quarterbacks in the league. Like it's not even like up for debate. Like if it's not Lamar Jackson, it's Justin Fields, right? Like it's one of those two guys.
He had 178 yards rushing.
Yeah. 178. Isn't that insane? Like the only other person to get close to that was Michael Vick in the regular season.
Yeah.
And that was 20 years ago. He didn't break Colin Kaepernick's overall in the playoffs because he did it in the playoffs, but he broke the regular season, which I think is still very, very impressive.
That is very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Averaging 12 yards per scramble.
Mhm.
I mean, that's something. Sorry. But
No, you're
go
good. So he's passing the ball. He got Mooney involved. He got Kmet involved with 2 touchdowns. Oh, and by the way, their new addition, Chase Claypool, he got him involved. He was only there for a little bit, but I mean, he needs to learn the playbook, all that stuff.
He had a carry too.
He did, yeah. So they lost. They ended up losing 35-32 to the Dolphins. Their offense is electric. The fact that they are close to 30 points almost every game is something that I didn't expect to see in my lifetime, or at least in the last few years as a Bears fan. This is fucking exciting.
Yeah.
The defense obviously is worse with the subtractions of Roquan Smith and to an extent Robert Quinn.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. But they made stops when they needed to. What I will say is the refs did miss a pass interference call on Chase Claypool there
That's the
in
worst.
the fourth quarter. And dude,
Ugh.
I was in my office watching this, and I'm like, how are you not calling that?
Yeah.
That is insane that you're not calling that. I'm just like, what is going through your head? He had his arms wrapped around his waist before the ball even got to him. So
those obvious ones, they just haunt you.
they really do.
Like Sauce Gardner had 2 of them.
Oh,
against
yeah.
the Broncos that, I mean, they were game-altering plays.
They are.
And it just, you can't miss those. You get paid to be the best of the best.
Mhm.
You can't miss the obvious ones.
And I forget which player said that. It's like the fucking wrestler to go back there and like, we missed this. Like,
Yeah.
you guys have to be like, we missed this. I'm sorry, or something. Even though it sucks because there's really nothing you can do past that point,
Well,
right?
that's the problem, I think, that we realize that there's ambiguity within any person, right?
Mhm.
Human error is a part of life.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that if a ref misses a call on a play,
Mm-hmm.
they can't like go into the booth, right,
Mhm.
and be like, "Oh, that was blatant," even if it's a face mask.
Yeah.
There should be somebody in New York that can buzz in
And-
at any point, and they throw a flag, and it's like it's
Mhm.
known, right? Because it'll be known while they're huddling that they're throwing a flag. It'll be
Yep.
like, "Oh, New York intervened. There was a face mask on the play." Like, I just don't understand why the blatant ones that change games can't be. It's like, nope, we blew a whistle, so the play's over forever.
Exactly.
It's like, but why?
And it was within the 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter is when it happened.
Yeah.
That's when this shit matters the most. When it is absolutely
in the last 2
crucial.
minutes.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because they were down 3. The defense actually got a stop, which is something that, you know, Bears fans, I'm sure, were like, come on,
Ooh.
get a stop, please, right?
Where'd they get the ball? Where'd they start their drive?
It was on their side of the field, so
It's all right. How much time?
I think it was a 2-minute warning.
Oh,
It was straight up the 2-minute
that was a
warning.
game-winning drive right there.
It was, and Justin Fields could have gotten it because he was making moves with his legs. I can't say anything else about Justin Fields other than he's amazing right now. But we'll go on the Tua side and the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill, Waddle, Tua, unfucking stoppable.
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill makes getting open look so easy.
he does. And when you see the highlights, it always looks like blown coverage when you're watching it.
Yeah,
And you're like, oh, okay. No, he's just really fast. Like,
he's electric.
But I want to say this to people like yourself and Bears Nation. I don't know what you guys call yourself, Bears Nation.
Bears Nation. Yep.
I would be really happy about this because this is about the best losses you can get, right?
Mhm.
I wouldn't say that the expectations were not. They've flipped a switch,
Yes.
and it's clear. And it
Yes.
started against the game they won against New England, and the way they played the Cowboys, and now the way they played Miami. So
Yep.
they are trending in a very good direction.
Mhm.
They get rid of these defensive players. They throw away the 85 Bears style of winning.
Yep.
And
yep.
they're like, we need weapons.
Mhm.
Okay? This is exactly the season that Justin Fields is in right now
Mhm.
is the season Tua was in last year.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And look at what Tua is now. This is the exact same jump that Justin Fields can make next year
Mhm.
once they bring in weapons. They'll do it for Justin Fields. If they're smart, they'll do him like Miami did Tua. And they'll be able to put in these weapons. Like, the fact that this is 35-32, last year's Tua, if he was, on the Bears,
Mhm.
I don't think the game would have been this close.
No.
So I think with Justin Fields, you have a higher ceiling, and there's a lot of areas that they can improve. They can get their football team to look something like Miami next year.
Mhm.
and just buy them. Fuck the picks. No one cares about picks anymore. Miami,
Absolutely.
literally, this is a perfect analogy because I'm talking about Tua in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 picks that Miami got for giving 49ers the ability to jump up
Yeah.
and get Trey Lance, they turned into Bradley Chubb, Tyreek Hill, and Waddle.
Yep.
That's what they did with those 3. So,
Mm-hmm.
and they're willing to be like, okay, I'll give Denver a first-round pick if you give us Bradley Chubb. Because I know what he is. I don't have to make a gamble on a rookie. Now, they had to pay him a lot of money, but the point is the Bears should be hitting free agency so hard
Yep.
when this season's up.
And they will.
Grab the best receivers. Grab like 3 of them. Get weird with it.
Yep.
And they got a great running game. We've seen that. So I wouldn't even say they need to upgrade there. But defensively, they have been giving up a lot of points.
Yes. Yeah.
They do need to get better on defense. I think the best way a team could get like overnight better, if you can't fill every hole, just get a shutdown corner. Get one.
Jalen Johnson has been it too for the Bears though. He
Has
did
he?
really well. I mean,
If you can
Tyreek
get-
is a monster, so that's tough for anybody. But he did really well.
If you can get like a Sauce Gardner or Pat Surtain or somebody of that caliber,
Yep.
It makes a world of a difference. And we'll get to that in a little bit with our past defense. But I think that if you're a Bears fan, you got to be happy with the way your games are trending. I think they're going. And this is what more could you expect? With what he's dealing with, and you must be thinking if he can do this with this, can't wait to see what he can do with a lot more weapons
with
around
the draft signings. But the only thing I'm worried about, and we'll kind of end it here with the Bears Dolphins, is like I don't want them to turn into the Detroit Lions, where oh man they've got some talent, they've got a good quarterback, but they're losing all these close games. But hey, they're improving, right? I don't want that to be a constant trending topic with them. I want them to get there, get those 2-minute drives, make them touchdowns and get wins.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I don't want them to turn into the Lions. So.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I know what you mean. Finding ways to lose. That's what that is. And totally agree with you. And especially with the Lions, even, you can make an argument, have more talent. And you definitely don't want to see the Bears get complacent because they have a star quarterback. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you have a star quarterback, you're in a Super Bowl window.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what you have, especially if you have a star quarterback on a rookie contract. Because eventually you're going to have to pay him $300 million by the time it's time for him to get paid.
Yeah.
So right now you're in a window. You take that $300 million, you go crazy. Free agency, draft, trade, do whatever you have to do to get talent while he's on that rookie contract. But we'll move on to our next game, which was the Carolina Panthers visiting the Cincinnati Bengals, a game that had Baker Mayfield coming in to relieve P.J. Walker.
And not only that, but they got romped.
Oh, they did. This game, the final score is 21-42. It was not as close as it looks. Baker Mayfield did come in and have the better performance out of the 2 quarterbacks. The head coach did say that he would evaluate the film. He didn't name a starter immediately after the game, but the way the game went, you kind of led to believe that Baker would get the start, but we'll see. But this is the roller coaster that if you're a Bengals fan, this is the roller coaster you've been on all year. You're going to win. You're going to have your cigar. You're going to be hungover and lose. You're going to have your cigar, have the hangover and lose. And I really think that as long as they can score 42 points without their best wide receiver on the field, that there's not a real reason that this team shouldn't be in the playoffs. And I think Joe Burrow, I think he's a winner.
Yeah.
I really do. So I think this is a team that's going to compete, and I think the Ravens will take that number 1 seed. But it'll be interesting tonight because I'm really excited to talk about the Saints game.
Me too,
the Baltimore Saints game. Really excited for this game.
Yep.
But anyway, it'll be interesting to see how this division plays out. But I had Tyler Boyd on my fantasy team because he moves up to a number 2 with T. Higgins going into that number 1 spot. But you can't celebrate too much. This is a really bad Panthers team right now.
It is, and P.J. Walker, I think he connected on like 3 passes or something like that with his receivers. That's why Baker came in. But I mean, it's tough when Joe Mixon has 5 touchdowns. Like, did you see him in the end
I can't believe I forgot to say that.
Yeah, when he scored his fifth one, he was like this. 1, 2.
Oh yeah, they all do that. I think
was so
Kamara
funny.
did it last year.
It was so great. But the Panthers, man, like, I don't know what to say. But this is what should be expected for the Panthers, I think. Again, all the moves that they've made, they've kept their young guys that they know are like for the future. They kept them there. Cool.
Yeah.
Now they just need to find a little bit more stability with who's at quarterback and how that offensive coach or coordinator is going to move the offense. So, yeah, like you said, Bengals are a powerhouse right now. They got the 3 fucking J's, Joe, and Jamar there. Jamar obviously is hurt, but still, Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow, killing it.
Yeah, and honestly, what's really funny about this game is if you take away the second quarter,
Mm-hmm.
the final score of this game would have been Carolina 14, Cincinnati 7.
Jesus.
Because in the second quarter, Cincinnati outscored Carolina 28-0.
Yeah.
This game was won and lost if you're for the Panthers in the second quarter, and it wasn't. I mean, that second they just blew it wide open. If you were watching,
And I think Joe Burrow went out in the third quarter.
Baker Mayfield.
Joe
went
Burrow.
out. Oh
He
yeah.
was like, hey, your day's done, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's
yeah.
insane.
Go
That is
light your
insane.
cigar. Get
yeah,
out of here.
Yeah.
And
Joe Cool.
Carolina still only had 164 passing yards. DJ Moore
Mm-hmm.
seemed like after 2 weeks where he was getting heavily involved, obviously took off his helmet after the Hail Mary last year.
Yeah.
He was really starting to come into stride,
Mhm.
and they just weren't able to get him in really anything going in the game. They only had 64 rushing yards. I mean, they were playing from behind for most of the game, but
Mhm.
yeah, this is just there's not really much to talk about besides, like you said, Mixon is scoring 5 touchdowns in one game. There's always one a year.
Mhm.
Last year was Kamara. I didn't know it'd be
Oh, that's
Mixon.
right. That's right.
So that's always fun to watch. But moving on from that game,
Let's
this
go.
was a very surprising game. He's
Let's
such a
go.
hater. I sent my family. I sent my family a picture of the studio because I'm really proud of this.
Yeah.
And they said nothing good.
About
They
the
said nothing
Broncos?
good. All they said was, "Why the fuck is there a Bears flag in the room?"
Let's go.
That's all they wanted to know about. So, yeah. I tried to tell them. They just won't accept it. I'm like, how many times I got to tell you? I shoot the podcast with a Bears fan.
You're
They're
like,
like
what
they
do you
don't
want me to
hear
do?
it.
Yeah.
It goes in one ear out the other. They're like, no,
I
he's a
love
Packers
it.
fan.
I love it.
So this game was actually kind of sad because obviously the
sad.
Packers lost their Lazard, I believe. They lost.
Yeah.
That's their number 1 receiver. They lost him right away. Rodgers threw 3 picks. There's just not much to work with.
No.
If you watch this
No.
game, there's not much to work with. And sometimes, like, I almost just said this with the Panthers game. I was like, it would be interesting to see, like, if Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes is a better example in 22. If he joined the Panthers, what would this team look like? Like, what would this team look like with elite quarterback play? And I still believe Aaron Rodgers is elite. And I guess sometimes you just, oh, God, this guy, back-to-back MVP, and then he loses 4 games in a row. I think it was 5 now.
Recency bias.
Yeah. It's, victim of the moment.
You're goddamn right.
But, yeah, this just, I mean, it was really weird because the Lions had been scoring a lot of points, and this kind of whole game had kind of a weird feel to it because usually the Lions play bad defense and give up a lot of points.
Yep.
The Packers couldn't get any points.
Their defense played really well.
Yeah.
Really well.
It just seemed, I don't know why, but I expected this to be a high-scoring game. I actually picked up Rodgers and started him on my fantasy team because I was like, oh, the Lions?
Yeah.
He'll get it back, but no.
No, he did not. He had a very rough time, I would think. And it was the Lions. Again, it was the fucking Lions, right? So I don't know what happened. I just love seeing it because it's Rodgers losing, throwing 3 picks, making sure, like, cementing the fact that they're going to have a really shit season And it just, as a Bears fan, it just makes me so much happier than if they had actually won this game, right? So
You're such a piece of crap.
Oh, 100%.
You're like
100%.
dancing on somebody's misery.
I absolutely am. And you know what? I there's no apologies for it. Dude, but he looked bad. I mean, he looked really, really bad in this game.
The media hates Aaron Rodgers.
Well,
It is
he's
fair.
so what did he say last week though about like if you're making mistakes, if you're not playing well, get off the team or you shouldn't be playing.
I watch.
Like, come on.
I watch the press conferences, and what they do is they like take a quote, and they. I'm not gonna say they take it out of context, but they don't take the whole body, and it looks really bad when you see it on ESPN. I'm like,
Yeah.
I watched that press conference.
Yeah.
It didn't sound like
Yeah.
that, and you know these people are doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
And they did the same thing when the Broncos kicked the field goal, and Nathaniel Hackett was like, oh, yeah, looking back on it, because he missed the field goal, I would have gone for it. And then they quoted him saying,
Yep.
I would have gone for it. And they were like, are you happy the coach admitted his mistake? Like, I don't think these people watch
Yeah.
like the press conferences, and then there's so much clickbait because they can like
Yes.
legally quote somebody saying
Yes.
that. But it's like, yes, but not really like that.
Mhm.
Rodgers has been getting a lot of that. And I've been watching the press conferences with a total open mind, and I'm like, all of his frustrations, like he says, it starts with me. He says all the right things. He's like, we just didn't play good enough. Starts with me. But the media doesn't talk about any of that. All they do is like they look for, okay, well, can we say that he, let's see when he throws his team under the bus. Like that's what we want. So I really think that he's not treated like fairly by the media. And I have to say it. Because,
Okay. That's fair. That is fair. What I will say, they love Dan Campbell in the media. He got up to the podium and he's like, dude, I'm tired. I'm going to go and grab a beer.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved every second of that. But so that was great for the
you
Lions.
start watching Dan Campbell.
It's kind of weird to see this, the Lions beating the Packers, especially with how the Packers kind of started the season. They started off kind of strong. It was
they lost to the Vikings pretty bad.
Yeah, but they also beat the Bears,
yeah.
right? And the Bears are a little bit better now. So
it's like they can't lose to the Bears.
Yeah.
Or the Lions.
Or
the
here they are,
Tigers.
right? So here they are. So, but Packers downward, Lions kind of staying the same near the bottom of the league. 2 wins isn't going to get
Bears are better than the Lions now, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The Packers are going to finish blank in the NFC North.
Packers are going to finish second in the NFC North still.
Okay, so
Yep.
you still have them.
I think I still have them second.
So the Packers are better than the Bears, but the Bears are better than the Lions.
The Bears are better than the Packers offensively. Their defense is going to be rough, but looking at the Bears'
Packers
schedule,
don't have an offense.
Huh?
Well, the Packers don't have an offense, so you don't have to worry about
that's
having
what I
soft
mean.
defense.
But the defense is going to be a little bit better. I mean, you see the weapons that the Lions have. They're more talented than the Bears. Really, when you look at the names and like the just the talent. I just think that the Packers are going to do just enough to get second. But I know the Bears. I have a great feeling that the Bears are going to blow their fucking doors off when it comes to
the next game.
The next game against them. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The Packers, I still think, finish second, but the Bears are going to make great strides. Lions are going to end up fourth. They're bottom dwellers. It is what it is with them. You know what I mean? Like
Rodgers did almost throw for 300 yards. He had 291. I think they had 3 turnovers in the red zone.
Oh, yeah, they did. Well, he had 3 total interceptions. So
I don't know where they were. I didn't watch the game, but I think that if you're a Packers fan, there was probably opportunities to win the game, even if you just kicked field goals.
Yeah.
But it seemed like they wanted touchdowns. They only had 3. Yeah, they only kicked field goals. They had 3 field goals, unless they missed an extra point that I don't know about. But yeah, this game looked like a snooze fest. 9-15. If you would have showed that, I wouldn't have watched it.
And I had Red Zone up, and I was like, wow, I haven't seen Lions Packers in a while.
They haven't been in the red zone the whole game, bro.
A game that did have quite a bit of scoring, though. Raiders at Jaguars.
This is so disappointing.
This is such a disappointing, and this is why I don't pick the
I'm
Raiders
a Broncos
anymore.
fan, so I love it. Just
and
like
you love it, yes. But I was like, the Raiders were up like 14-0 at one point.
More.
Yeah, they were like...
It was like 20 to... I want to say at one point it was like 20-0.
Okay.
maybe 20-3.
And Devontae Adams made everything look so easy. Like, he played that game really well, and they got outcoached by Doug Peterson and the Jaguars. That's really what it comes down to. Is Josh McDaniels is like just not a good coach. Just overall not a good coach. Like
He's not finishing.
Sloppy seconds. Yeah, you can't finish. Well, we'll see.
It was 17-0, by the way.
Okay, then it's just like it's just they got outrushed, and the Jaguars were like, oh shit, Etienne, he scored 2 touchdowns. Yeah, maybe that good thing we traded James Robinson because he showed out 2 rushing touchdowns.
No, he's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Carr, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns. I looked at my fantasy thing, and Devontae Adams had 32 points, and there was like 7 minutes left in the second quarter.
Oh my god!
And he only had 1 more catch the rest of the game.
Yep.
He easily could have had 50, 60 point score.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how do you?
And they just stopped going to him. I don't know what happened.
They just stopped going to him, and it's like, how do you do that with your best receiver? How do you?
Yep.
Just take him completely out of the game. Yeah, dude. If you're a Raiders fan, you don't even know what to do with this because it's not even back to the drawing board. It's like you did all the things you needed to do to win, and you let a Jacksonville team that the Broncos just beat, which and we know how Denver is. It's just, man, you gotta find a way to win these types of games.
Yep.
This
100%.
game, the Texans games, this is completely unacceptable, and I'm surprised after being shut out last week. I really thought that the Raiders were going to come in and get that bad taste out of their mouth, and they blow a 17-point lead. It's like, geez, it's torture if you're a Raiders fan. You're like, dude, why can't I'd rather just lose than have all this hope that we got it back together. And 2 weeks ago, we thought the Raiders were going on a run.
Yeah.
Because I think they beat the Texans.
And then they lost to the Saints, and that's when I like last week, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with them. I'm done with them. And I'm glad. I'm glad I was. I was.
And they've given you no reason to believe in them.
No.
At all.
They're so talented. But Josh McDaniels is such a fucking idiot.
How?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
It's like he's under Belichick, right? Arguably the best coach of all time. And it makes you wonder, too, when he was about to take the deal to be the Indianapolis Colts head coach, he, backed out the last second. I don't know if you remember that, but...
Oh, yeah, no, well, I think Bill convinced him, no, you're not going anywhere.
And then he went back to New England, and it just makes you wonder, what is going on with him?
What the fuck happened, right?
Yeah. Somewhere along... Because this team was ran better by John Gruden, and apparently he was the most dysfunctional, worst coach to play for.
He was pretty bad, yeah.
But he had the team playing way better. And then even when John Gruden left, Derek Carr and the interim head coach, you should have stuck with that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, the interim head coach had you guys playing for playoffs. In a season that it would have been totally understandable to just throw in the towel. Yeah. It would have been nobody would have hassled the Raiders for losing. They would have been like...
And they stepped it up.
They would have given him the Trevor Lawrence pass for having stinky finger last year. And they found a way to go to the playoffs and be resilient. And then you would have thought, okay, the Raiders are loading. They made it to the playoffs on a season that they shouldn't have done good. Now they bring in Devontae Adams, and they bring in a defensive piece, and then they bring in McDaniels, and it's like this team is loading up for a Super Bowl. Yeah. And wow, were we wrong. I mean, we were very wrong.
Very wrong.
This team is not going to compete for a wild card right now.
Nope. Talking about teams that might compete, though. Might. Colts at Patriots. We know the Colts aren't, but the Patriots got to win here. The Colts sucked. They just fired their head coach, Frank Reich, and the Patriots, literally on the leg of Nick Folk, got to win here. But I will credit the Patriots defense because they sacked Sam Ehlinger 9 fucking times in this game. The Colts are bad. Frank Reich he fired his offensive coordinator earlier. I think they fired a couple other coordinators or whatever.
Do you know who their head coach is right now?
It's Jeff Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
am I going to break this to
No, I saw it. It's Jeff Saturday, which is such a like tugging at the fans' heartstrings type of move.
Yeah.
Because the
Well, Jim
others-
Irsay and him have a good relationship too. And
Yeah, but he's
most of
never
their problems
coached.
are on the line.
Yeah, but he's never coached. I think he was coaching like some sort of prep academy in high school. Like
Yeah.
recently.
He doesn't have coaching experience, but I think their number one issue is on their offensive line
Mhm.
right now. So, I mean, you mentioned the sacks, right?
Yep.
So I think they were like, we'll bring in Saturday, and maybe this is his one shot.
Mhm.
You know who else got one shot in a very similar way, even though he was like a trainer
Hmm.
on Clemson? It was Debo Sweeney.
Oh, really?
And look at him now.
Yeah.
I mean, some people get
Different,
some
but-
people
but
get a
yeah.
shot just because
Yeah.
they're in the Hall of Fame. They're in the Ring of Honor in the stadium. They're
Mhm.
friends with the owner. And maybe he was like, dude, give me a shot. Maybe I can turn around the offensive line and I'll hire somebody to do the other stuff.
Mhm.
Obviously, he's not going to be calling plays, right?
No,
We can
yeah,
agree that
yeah.
he doesn't know
They're
how
going
to
to
do
get
that.
an OC. They're going to get somebody who knows what they're doing
Yeah.
in that sense. But they had no answer for the Patriots in this game. The Patriots, again, just kicked their way. Nick Folk did his thing.
Ramondre Stevenson.
Ramondre Stevenson is just a running back that you're looking at now who is like, I don't want to say just now, but he has made his presence known where he's like,
Yeah.
I am a guy. I am definitely a guy.
He's like, I think, number 7, number 8 in fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since he really started taking over. I mean, this is like his lowest yards per game with 60 yards. But, yeah, you kind of feel like this Patriot team has an identity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to
Yeah.
play defense, and they're going to run the football. They're leaning heavily on Ramondre Stevenson.
Mm-hmm.
And Mac Jones has just got to not totally suck, right? I mean, that's it. They're not
Yeah,
asking him to do
That's
that
kind
much.
of it. Yeah, that's really all you
That's
need
kind
to
of
do.
last year. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
But you can't have 43 passing yards in a whole game.
No,
That is just wow.
that's bad.
And then you look at New England, and it's not much better, right? They had
No.
133.
Mm-hmm.
So you said maybe a playoff team. I don't know, man. I think that if you can't throw more than 133 pass yards per game against this Colts team,
Mm-hmm.
you may not go to the playoffs. I expect them to be in the hunt
Mhm.
because of who they are, but eventually it does feel like they have to like add somebody.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
something has to. They can't just only run the ball because they only had 70 yards on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So their total yards 203. 203 total. It's a miracle that they have 26 points.
It really is, and I'm saying like that was all Nick Folk. Like I think he had 5 field goals or 4, something like that. That's like half their points.
Yeah, they must have had a defensive touchdown potentially.
Oh yeah, maybe.
That would make sense,
Yeah.
right? But
Um,
yeah, that was a game that back in our day used to be really exciting, right? The
Oh,
old
yeah.
Peyton Manning,
Oh,
Tom
yeah.
Brady showdown.
Yeah, 100%.
Not anymore.
No, definitely not. Definitely not anymore. But let's move on to a game that was exciting and was my game of the week, which I think you were kind of like, why is this his game of the week? Bills at Jets. I am starting to get scared of my wife and the Jets. I'm just like, this trolling has gone to another level, and the Bills were somehow on top by like 2 touchdowns. The Jets came back, but what I will say is Josh Allen, dude, he is reckless with the ball.
He's hurt.
And he's hurt. Like, he is just, I don't know what he's doing. If he just, like, is seeing things differently from, like, earlier in the season or what. But he had 2 rushing touchdowns, but he had 2 interceptions.
Yeah, but he's in that he's in that healthy risk percentage. And I think we did that in one of the episodes. How many of their throws was like a risky throw?
Mm-hmm.
When like Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen and
Yeah.
the elites take chances.
Mm-hmm.
The elite slings the ball. It's because they trust their arm.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have 2 picks. You know, Brett Favre had 2 picks all the time.
But against the Jets, though.
I mean, Sauce Gardner, they have a good defense.
No, they do, but I think Josh Allen, no matter what kind of team, because, I mean, this is the team that beat the Chiefs, right? Like, this is a team that's beating the top teams right now. Against a Jets team that, yes, has a solid defense, has Sauce Gardner, you still shouldn't be able to, I get trusting your arm, I get slinging it, but also, like, do enough to where you're not in a situation where you're about to lose the game, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, this Bills team does have one problem, and they are still the number one scoring offense in the NFL. So
And a really great defense.
yeah, but their quarterback is Josh Allen's their leading rusher on the team, and this is kind of becoming a problem.
Mm-hmm.
They need to find a way to run the ball. They can't just rely, and this is coming from a defensive-minded head coach. They're like, oh, just Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Eventually, he's gonna. I mean, you see the wear and tear his elbow.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just consistently use him in that way and expect him to be healthy every year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the surprising thing is he's so valuable to that team.
Yeah.
But they use him in such a reckless way.
They do. And it's similar to, like, well, I want to say what Justin Fields does is similar to Josh Allen, and Josh Allen will take those hits, but now that he's hurt and he's slinging it away and he's getting these interceptions, it's like, okay, let's try to take a step back. We have running backs for a reason. Let's use them, even though they aren't very effective, and then let's let Josh Allen do those designed runs, but not just feed him the ball every single time.
Yeah, and I thought it was impressive that the Jets found a way to win this game,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of nice. They're not asking Zach Wilson to do too much.
Yeah.
18 for 25, 154 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, they're throwing it 25 times. They're not throwing it. You know what I mean? They're not throwing it 17 times a game. They're not taking big shots. Like they're just content with the 5 yards, the 3 years, the checkdowns, and that's good enough for that team. They're going to run the ball. They had 174 rushing yards on a really good defense.
Yeah.
I mean, a really good rushing defense in Buffalo. So the Jets are just kind of weird. I don't know what they are.
I think
know
they're
they
good.
beat the Bills, but
I think they're good.
I saw the Broncos played them, and the Broncos were not a good team at
Mhm.
that point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they had so many opportunities to beat them,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't unsee that. And
Yeah.
I saw the Sauce Gardner penalty.
Yeah.
He had 2 really bad ones that I
Yeah.
talked about earlier, and if
But
those would have happened, we would have won the game. And
You're
I was
right.
like,
Yeah.
so after I saw that, I was like, okay, the Jets are going to get exposed, but they were able. Maybe they're just like playing to their competition type of team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll play the Bills tough, and maybe they'll lose to a Broncos team.
Yeah.
You know, that might just be who they are, but it's getting a little unclear right with the playoff picture because you got the Jets, but obviously the Dolphins and the Bills,
Mm-hmm.
they're all in the same division.
Yep.
So you start looking at that
This
wild
is-
card
That's
spot,
going to be interesting. Yep.
and you're like, wait a minute, so is there even a way to get in if you're, a team
Mm-hmm.
that's not winning your division?
Yep.
Like, do the Bengals have a ticket if,
Mhm.
because if the Ravens win, what about the Broncos? What if they come in second place in their division under the Chiefs? Now they don't get in?
Yeah.
So we'll see how this Jets team, plays out. Hopefully they start losing a little bit because it's going to be really hard for anyone else to get in
Yep.
if the Dolphins and the Jets take those wild card spots.
Yep. And yeah, the AFC East is a good division too. Like the East divisions right now are the best, but unfortunately for us right now, and sorry to you guys and the viewers, but we are kind of running out of time here. Just because we got a new setup, as you can see. We're just running a little bit behind on the iPad, on this, on that. So we're running out of battery, but we're gonna bring you guys the rest of the Week 9 the next time. We're going to upload it later on tonight after Monday Night Football. Ravens at Saints. I had the Saints.
I got the Ravens, but I like the Saints too.
You like the Saints?
Yeah.
I'm picking the Saints from here on out. I'm not picking the Raiders, and I'm picking the Saints. So what we'll do is, towards the end of Sunday night or Monday Night Football, we'll try to see if we can get something for you guys, not only on this live stream, but for a podcast tomorrow.
Yeah, Saints have the number 3 offense in the NFL right now. So
Really?
let that sink in.
There you go, right? Like, that should be something. And again, I'm not picking against the Saints, so I'm picking the Saints. But
3-5, number 3 offense.
that's insane. That's how many wins they have too. So follow us on Star 6 Media on Instagram, YouTube. Obviously, if you're watching us on YouTube, you've got us here. Facebook, Twitch, everywhere. We're everywhere, dude.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. But thank you for joining this live stream, Kyle. New setup.
Yeah.
You love it? You took a shot? Like,
Yeah.
this is great. Like, this is fucking awesome right now. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it too.
Whistle Pig, sponsor us.
Whistle Pig, sponsor us, please. But all right, man, it was a pleasure. We'll start off with Vikings and Commanders the next time we start recording, and then we'll finish off with Monday Night Football and a little bit of a playoff picture.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right, man. See ya.
See ya.